Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Agent Psycho. This video is going to be another one of those rantish commentaries that I like to make every once in a while, or whenever I feel like it. Either or works, works either the same. And if you guys, some of you guys may not like this style of videos that I so often make. So in case you don't like this, then please protect your virgin ears, because there will be lots of profusive swearing, if that even makes sense. I don't even know, and I claim to be a really good English person. Anyways, so today in this video I want to talk about possible abuses of power, especially in like the gaming field, And I thought of this topic. Actually, let me set up the background for you guys so that the reason for this video is explained and validated, whatever. So earlier the other day, I was playing, in fact, earlier today as I'm making this commentary, I was playing some DayZ. And if you guys don't know, I like to play a lot of DayZ Origins. That's probably why I put up, DayZ Origins videos every once in a while. And because I play DayZ Origins, just recently there had been a new patch for the mod, called 1.7.8 patch, and I downloaded it and thinking, hey, look, they've added a lot more stuff here. Let's check it out, see what's different, and whatnot. So I go into a random server, and I just spawn in as a new guy and see what I can do. See what's different about the map, see what's different about the gameplay, whatever that there is to check out. So I'm playing, right? So I think I started around pretty early in the morning, actually. 9 o'clock. Actually, at the time I played, it was a Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, so I had basically all the day to myself because I had no class, obviously. And you probably shouldn't have had any class either if you live in America. So I was just killing time, just playing lots and lots of DayZ Origins. And mind you, in DayZ Origins, or in DayZ in general, having a helicopter is a very, very huge asset. And if you have a helicopter, that means you can get around the map a lot more quickly. You get to, scrounge for loot a lot more quickly or a lot more efficiently. And just having a helicopter is a very, very good thing in DayZ. It's one of the main things you want to have if you want to, go around killing people, building a base, whatever, or just, simply traveling, whatever it is. A helicopter is probably your best option. So that being said, I joined this particular server where it's not PvP. In other words, for those of you guys who don't know what that means, it's because DayZ is a multiplayer game, and you run into other people in real life that also play the same mod on the same server, whatever. PvP means you can go ahead and kill other players that you see. PvE, however, means you can only kill like AI AI characters or just NPCs, but not other players. So I was on one of those servers, the no PvP servers. So I hop in there because I don't want to have to constantly deal with, oh, someone's gonna kill me, I have to restart my progress all over again. So I just hop into a random one, and I play for about a good 7-8 hours just going straight through it, because DayZ Origins was just one of those games. DayZ in general is just one of those games where you have to devote a lot of time to it, either all at once or gradually over like the span of weeks, perhaps even months, like I have, in order to get somewhere in the game that you kind of feel comfortable with and kind of feel high up there on the the in-game social ladder, so to speak. I don't really know what else to call it. So yeah, I was just killing my time doing that, and after a certain server restart, or actually, let me backpedal a little bit. After like 5 or 6 hours just searching for a helicopter, because typically on PvP or no PvP servers, typically speaking, because people don't have to worry about getting killed by other people all the time, they go around getting all the vehicles, and what's the one vehicle type that everyone goes for? Helicopters. So I get to spend about 5 or 6 hours of my time playing DayZ Origins just looking for a fucking helicopter. One of my videos earlier on my YouTube channel was all about how to find a new chopper spawns in DayZ 1.7.7 before the latest 7.8 patch, and that video has like around 4K views or whatnot. It's relatively popular as far as just the normal average views that my videos get on a daily basis or something. So I consider it pretty successful. But anyways, I spent that time back then when I first made that video, going around trying to search for all the possible helicopter locations. That knowledge proved to be useful because I then spent a good, those good 5-6 hours going around the entire freaking map on a raft at going at what 65 kilometers an hour, trying to look for one. And finally, I find one after those, that amount of time. So obviously at the end I'm really glad that finally I get my hands on a really good chopper. It's one of the best ones in the game. It's heavily armored. It's got 2 machine guns that if you got friends that you're transporting around with along with you, they can man the guns while you fly around. It's just a really good helicopter, and it kind of gives you a sense of, or a peace of mind, so to speak, the fact that you have that if you were to play Daisy Origins, mind you. So I'm feeling good. I have this chopper, and I set it on. I just land on a isolated mountain so that I can make sure no one else takes it. Even though there is a rule against, or on that server, against people stealing other people's vehicles or loot or whatever. You just can't trust anyone. I mean, even if there are rules, people are bound to break them. So I'm. Where was I going with this? I park my helicopter on some random mountaintop, and I just log out there because the server's about to restart. And once the server restarts, I go back on the server, fly around a little bit more, gather more materials, because now that I have a chopper in Daisy Origins, you can build like your own houses, you can build your own base. So I decide to fly around, gathering the last few materials I need in order to build my my houses, my garages, start my own base up. So as I'm doing that, I run into a couple other people on the server. I've recognized them as the people who've been on the server for a really long time, as long as I have. Some of them, at least 1 or 2 of them, have been on as long as I have, like ever since morning time. So obviously, I know them. They've been talking a little bit over side chat, and I thought they were cool. I thought things would go all cool and stuff like that. So I meet them in a town called Downogorsk. If you guys don't know the whole premise of Daisy Origins, then you might not know what I'm talking about. If you guys do know, then props to you, I guess. But in any case, I meet a couple guys in Downogorsk. It's a very industrial town where there's lots of factories and whatnot, so you can go around really gathering a lot of industrial loot, where that kind of loot really gives you a lot of materials for building houses, which is exactly what I'm trying to go for. So I spent the time doing that, and then one of the guys says, "Oh, I need to leave now, or I'm going to go back to my own base." So he hops into his own helicopter, which I didn't notice that he had at first, because it was pretty well tucked away in between some of the in between the some containers, whatever, inside the industrial facility. And I hear that, and I recognize it as one of the new choppers that the development team for the Origins mod had put in as of the latest 7.8 patch. So I'm intrigued by that, because I've seen that chopper model in Wasteland, but I've never seen it in Origins, because obviously they just added it, so it's obviously new and I haven't seen it before. So I'm like, hey, cool, that's that chopper from Wasteland. I wonder where you can get it. So I asked that guy, where, dude, hey, that chopper's cool, or where'd you get that? And he answers back to me, in the middle of nowhere. And if you guys don't play Daisy Origins, again, you might not understand the significance of that. Maybe you're just like, oh, he just, in the middle of nowhere, he's probably pulling a joke. That's code word. That's basically a passphrase for, or that's code for, lay off my dick, I ain't telling you. In the most blunt sense of the phrase, that's what it literally means. And especially because this is a no PvP server. Like, if it was a PvP server, like, players could kill other players, that's understandable, because that might reveal some clues about their location. It might reveal some things about where their base is, so you can go over there and base camp them, or do horrible things to them, whatever. So if it were a non-PvP, or if it were a full-blown PvP server where you can kill anyone, then I would have understood. But this is a no PvP server. Initially my thought was, wait, hold on a second, you're not telling me. So why is that? Why don't you want to tell me? But I don't say that, of course, because obviously that's just going to make me look like a nosy dickhead. So I'm just like, well, okay, that's fine. You could have just told me that you didn't want to tell me, if you didn't want to, if you're going to talk like that. And logically, to me, that was like, I was like, to me, that sounded, my own words sounded perfectly okay. Like, I'm a very upfront dude. I'm a very honest guy. So, I don't really particularly like it, even if, if these are people that I don't know, I don't really need to care about in my life. I still don't like it if people just say, like, very roundabout things to me. So, I'm just like, okay, yeah, well, that just happened, whatever. And then his friends start coming over and start asking me, where did you get your helicopter? Because mind you, I have my own chopper. That I just spent like a couple, 5-10 minutes explaining where I got it from, So I have my own chopper. They know I've flown into the same town called Downogorsk in order to look for some, picks and axes so I can, gather materials for a house or whatever. So they know that I have a chopper myself. And they ask me, so where did you get your chopper? I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you. Because, for the same reasons that that dude didn't tell me. And then it just went downhill from there. One of them demanded that I actually tell him where I got it from. And another dude was like, well, if you got your helicopter legit, then you would have said, oh, I found it at spawn. And by the way, let me just make a quick comment on that. That guy's a dumbass. What kind of an answer is, oh, I found out the spawn? And you really expect to know something from that when someone tells you that, oh, I found it at spawn. There are freaking dozens of possible chopper locations, and in DayZ Origins, as of 1.7.7 patch, the helicopters don't necessarily spawn in the same place every time. There's a good chance that they will, after server restarts, if they're destroyed and, they respawn back there again. There's a good chance, but they don't always. So the fact that he asked me, oh, if you should have said, you found it at spawn. Okay, which spawn? Wouldn't that imply that I would tell you which spawn I found it at? In which case, no, I'm not gonna tell you that. Cause that other dude that I asked, where did you find that chopper, wasn't gonna tell me either. Anyways, moving on. So, yeah, they asked me, where did you find your chopper? And they started accusing. I know what they're trying to say. I know what they're trying to get across here. The server, as I probably mentioned before, like maybe once, the server has a very strict rule on how many vehicles one person can have in a single server, or on that server. And apparently the rules were like, you can only have one helicopter and one land vehicle per person. And if you don't have if you don't have an aerial vehicle, then you can only keep 2, land vehicles. And that makes sense, it prevents people from, hogging all the vehicles to themselves. So I don't have a problem with that. Not that I did to begin with. For some reason, boats didn't count, but boats are boats. No one really wants boats, except for me, because I used one for like fucking 5 or 6 hours. But again, I'm getting off tangent here. They start questioning me. Oh, where did I get my helicopter? And just random, and I don't want to call it random bullshit because I do know where they're coming from. It's just they asked it in such a very hostile way that I can't really help but just view that as very xenophobic. Like, eventually, it turns out that just judging by the way that they were, talking to each other over side chat, judging by the way that they were cooperating with each other, it was pretty obvious from the get-go, as soon as I joined the server, that they were all friends. They were all friends, they were all butt buddies, whatever, and they got along well with each other, and they didn't necessarily get along with other people that tried to, ask them for help or whatever. So I'm assuming they were like an impromptu clan of sorts, maybe IRL friends, whatever. Turns out, though, what I didn't know is that the one who first started making accusations at me turned out to be the admin of the server, which I didn't know until someone actually pointed out, "Hey, look, why are you so stupid? You're arguing with the admin." So wait, hold up a second. Rewind that for a second. You're telling me that I was wasting about half an hour arguing with these guys who were threatening to kick me off the server because I wasn't, quote-unquote, answering their questions? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were just bluffing. But yeah, it eventually turned out that they were admins. So to kind of wrap this whole anecdote up, to wrap the whole background thing up, you know, eventually they just laid off me after a bit. Say their excuse was, "Oh, it's getting boring arguing with you." Yeah, right, faggot. So yeah, like I said, eventually they laid off my case. I suppose the only reason why they didn't kick me from the server altogether was because they didn't have enough evidence to, I guess I don't really know what the proper jurisdiction, the proper judicial term is for for this situation, but I guess they didn't have enough evidence to, indict me or something. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, lack of evidence, whatever. So I'm assuming that's the only reason why I didn't get kicked. So yeah, it kind of ended like that, and I mean, I can't really do anything against about that now because I'm assuming those guys and their little group of butt buddies, they don't trust me anymore, obviously, because if you get into argument with a fucking admin and there's like fucking 4 or 5 dudes playing with the admin. I mean, what can I do, right? So, it's whatever. At least they haven't kicked me off the server. Not yet, anyway. So, that's that. The lesson here that I want to, or the moral of the story, the lesson, what the fuck you want, I don't care what you want to call it. The thing I want to rant here about, the thing I want to rant about here is that, yes, I understand that to a point, being an admin on a server, especially for a server like DayZ or Arma 2, the mods for Arma 2, or whatever, Battlefield, whatever video game has servers out there. Yes, I understand that being an admin to a certain extent means you have absolute power. If you're a senior admin, even if you're a junior admin, you have basically unlimited power in a server that either you own or that you administrate. And I get that. I get that there needs to be in a video game environment, because video games are so prone to being attacked by absolute faggotry and douchebaggery, or acts of those deeds, that there needs to be someone with absolute power to lay down the law, lay down the banhammer on people who really do do either stupid shit or really douchebag things like hacking or doing whatever that, or blatantly breaking the rules and being an asshat. Problem was, yeah, I was being an asshat to a certain extent. I was rather bitter and confused that they would go out of their way to accuse me of something that to me anyway, obviously I wasn't guilty of, specifically the crime of stealing a chopper, because they accused me of that because they said that, or their reasoning for that was, oh, it's kind of suspicious because all these new players finding helicopters so quickly. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, you call 6 hours quickly? Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, that's that. Can't change anything about that. Yeah, but back to the point. Yeah, I understand. There needs to be a strong figure of power to deal with potential law breaking, yada yada yada, stuff like that. But the thing, here's the thing. This is, from here on out, this is strictly my opinion. Some of these may be things that I think other people should follow. But for the most part, everything I'm about to say from here on out is just my own opinion. If you want to be an admin of like a video game server, Battlefield 3, a Call of Duty server, because they have servers back in Modern Warfare 2, COD 4, whatever. If you're an admin on an active server and you act on an active basis, let's see how many times I can say active in one sentence, then yeah, you do have absolute power. But that doesn't mean you should get fucking high off of it. Don't get high off your own fucking piss, the smell of your own fucking piss, just because you're admin. and just like fucking grow some skin, you know? You won't be dealing with people who are cooperating with you all the fucking time. Granted, I don't know how many times they've had to deal with, faggots in the past, people that make their lives really really hard. In which case, I apologize for them, that they have to deal with those kinds of people because they're admins and that's their responsibility. So I understand that much. But to a certain extent, there are two things that I have to say about that. First, you're an admin. You're supposed to, you need to expect to have to deal with, I don't want to say that F word constantly because it makes me feel bad. But you need to expect that your job, like your entire job, is to make sure that people like douchebags don't just go into your server and just ruin everyone's fun. You need to expect that. You need to expect that you're not going to be working with people who are willing to cooperate with you 100% of the time. And like I said before, yeah, maybe you have more than your fair share of people that you need to deal with that kind of act like that. People who act like total asshats. But still, it's your job. Like, fucking grow up and deal with it. Because if you don't do that, if you, start, I guess, quote unquote, abusing your admin powers, then no matter what, eventually someone will notice that, and someone will be like, okay, that guy acts that way, better not come back here again. And, if it only happens a couple times, if the victims of your adminship, I guess, for lack of a better term, are butthurt, and yeah, that's it. That's the end of the day. Call it quits. Whatever. Let's go home. But if you keep doing that, the danger with having all this admin powers and using it in ways that, well, I guess me personally speaking, I don't agree with. Problem with that is that eventually enough people, if you do it enough, then people will notice and people will stop coming to your server, and they will either directly because of you or anything that you've done to them or their friends. Actually, that's the exact same thing, so never mind. But I hope you get my point. It's just, I really don't want to just portray myself to be like a victim here, because there were faults on both sides. I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to bitch or anything on the internet where people, at least 1,000 people can hear me whine about, how I got, abused by a random admin on a random DayZ Origin server. No, let's get fucking real here. That's not what I'm here to do. It's just that I just want to make it clear that usually I'm chill with admins, the reasoning of most admins. And even here, even in this little example that I've given right now, I understand. I understand that, vehicle theft is a real thing on that server. It's really easy to just walk up to someone's base and there's like a shiny new car in front of it that just needs like a couple wheels, and you've got those parts. It's really tempting to just go up there and just do boom, boom, boom. All the wheels are up. All right, let's drive it away and hope no one sees me. It's really easy to do that, admittedly. But the thing is, though, is that I don't want to use the America thing because not all of you live in America, so this can't really pertain to everybody. But what I can say is, it's kind of a very toxic personality or attitude to just accuse someone first of doing something and just not trusting them at all whatsoever. Like, I'm not saying to completely trust absolute strangers that you don't know about, but it's another thing entirely to just go out of your way and say, shut the fuck up, answer my question, did you steal the helicopter or not? Because, me being a history major, I can use a historical example of this. That's exactly like the, America during the Red fucking Scares. If you guys don't know, after World War II, obviously, if you know a little bit of modern history, after World War II, America and Soviet Russia, back then, obviously they didn't trust each other because after World War II, they were the two biggest superpowers in the entire nation. They were the ones who would dictate, world policy from that point on. So, naturally, people from both nations didn't trust each other. Americans didn't trust communism, Soviets didn't trust capitalism, and each side constantly tried purging their own insides or their own governments, their own nations of possible spies from the other side. Especially America, because we know more about America because America tends to keep a better track of things than Soviet Russia did. The whole American free press thing, which ironically enough, and during the Red Scares, didn't really come to pass anyway. So during those times, obviously during those Red Scares, people didn't trust anything. Like, they didn't even trust the color red because red was symbolized the color of communism. Like, that's how ridiculous it became. People were like, "Oh, you're saying something socialist. We need to silence you. We need to censor you so that you don't I guess stir up communist ideas in the heads of others." It's the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing. The fact that, an admin can just, I guess, pressure someone into answering a certain question that they want to have answered no matter what. Like, are you, okay, you're an admin, yeah, I get that, but are you fucking commie? Like, is this what is going on? Nothing against communism. I mean, communism is still a governmental ideology, and to be honest with you, I support the ideal of true communism, which is what communism should have become, but because of human avarice, communism would never exist. So, yeah, fuck that. But still, are we living, under, Naziist mods or something? This is just a personal. This is obviously more of a pet peeve, or a personal pet peeve more than anything. The fact that me being treated like that doesn't really sit well with me. Obviously, there's not really much I can do about it because I'm just some random dude playing on some other guy's server, which he's an admin on. So, whoop-de-doo, what can I do, right? Just talk about it, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Just suck their dick and move on. But incidentally, I don't like sucking dicks. And if at all, I don't want to do that. So, no, first of all, I'm not gay, and second of all, I won't bend over for your tiny 2-inch dick. Not that I'm any better, or any longer, but I'm Asian, so I have an excuse, so fuck you. And seeing that a lot of my subscribers, or much of my subscriber base is, primarily based on, the gang from Combat Arms, see the tie-in here? The thing about that, or the reason why you subs of mine that play Common Arms, which should be most of you, or if not all of you, otherwise how would you have known me, right? The thing is that why you should care is the fact that emods are the exact same thing. Emods are basically the admins of Combat Arms rooms, or whatever. They're the admins. Okay, I'm not trying to roast any Nexon employee or whatever, but I feel like this needs to be said. Fuck the Nexon admins! Fuck the game masters, GMs, because they don't do jack shit. All they do is just run around on certain event days, like Fridays, Sundays, whatever, and give out random prizes and shit. They just toss out NX to, make people happy who are complaining about, oh, this game lags, oh, your game sucks, or oh, your game isn't doing something that I want it to do. That's all I see them doing. Yeah, maybe they do give out bans every so often, but I don't really care about that because I never hack, so I couldn't care anything less about that. They're doing their job. That's great. But other than that, okay, yeah, what are the GMs gonna do? I don't even see them playing it, at all. At least on the DayZ server that I was talking about, I'm constantly bitching about. It was the admin there plays with the people who, with their friends on the actual server itself, so I have a little bit of respect for that. Other than that, though, the elite moderators of all the rooms that you see in Combat Arms, all those elite moderator rooms, those mods, those emods, they're basically quasi-admins. They're literally quasi-admins that can have, or they can do anything they want. They can kick anyone, or not anything technically, but in the respect of choosing who they want in their rooms, they have absolute power. Unless your name is Agent Psycho or a really hated emod where everyone F6s your vote, which in this case, if you didn't know, apparently everyone likes to F6 my vote. So I don't really know what to do. But if you're not Agent Psycho, then most likely people are too lazy to F6 anything. So guess what? the emods, you being an emod, you can do whatever you want. You can kick whoever you want. You can get rid of whoever you want. You can stack your rooms however way you want. Whatever. You are the fucking admin, and that's the problem. Because I get it. Combat Arms video game servers are a private enterprise, and according to private enterprises, at least in America, have the same principles, the same properties of freedom of speech, freedom of action, freedom of choice, whatever, those Bill of Rights that are guaranteed to us by the Bill of Rights or whatever. They don't apply to private enterprises like a server or something like that. That's why I say the admins have absolute power. Because why? Because they do. They can do whatever the fuck they want. The same goes for Elite Moderators in Combat Arms rooms. They are literally, in my eyes, no different. And that's the problem that I see. That's the core problem I see with Elite Moderators. If all the emods, or if humans were perfect beings in an ideal world where humans were, always unselfish, they always did strictly what the Elite Moderator was designed to do, just kick people who are, being asshats, who are breaking your rules, who are doing things that you don't appreciate, that, are actually legitimately malicious or bad, then we wouldn't have a problem. In fact, in that ideal world, we wouldn't even have Elite Moderators, because no one would do stupid shit like that. But that's kind of like a catch-22, isn't it? You have Elite Moderators get rid of the douchebaggery that humans oftentimes bring to video games, or to the scene of video games, and yet they're abused anyway. In my honest opinion, the most logical compromise for that, at least as far as Combat Arms concerned, because obviously I'm a relatively influential figure in the whole Combat Arms scene, and I can at least have a chance of having my voice heard by the next on development team or whatever. The greatest compromise is that just either this is going to be very generally sounding, but either just get rid of emods in general, and make sure that Combat Arms is 100% hack free, and just implement a vote kick. Or you nerf elite mods in a way, or elite mods or super elite mods, whatever, in a way that you can ensure that emods cannot, just stack their own teams. People can't just fucking noob farm as easily as they can. Obviously, noob farm will never go away. People will always find a way to noob farm as efficiently as possible. And I understand. People want to have easy games. People don't feel like, going through that grind of, ranking up their character, whatever. I don't want to hear your excuse, fucking noob farmers. It's just that this level of, elite mod abuse that I've come to see throughout my career of Combat Arms, me being a very, very prime target of said rage kicking, something's got to change. Something has got to change. And I really do hope that Nexon comes up with some way, some idea of being able to, nerf, I guess nerf, for lack of a better sense of the word, nerf things like that, or no, not just things like that, nerf Elite Moderator powers in general. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to see. We will just have to see. Anyways, this is about time. I'm getting a Skype call, so it's about time for me to get off this commentary. End of the day, I really don't agree with the whole, idea of, having an admin for, things like that. Hey, but, it is what it is. Some things you just can't change because, it's just a necessary thing, just a necessary part of life. So, thanks for watching, guys, and this is the end of the commentary. I've been talking for way too long, but that you guys are probably used to it by now. So, again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys later.